The story begins late one night in Geneva, within the sprawling labyrinthine halls of the CERN facility, home to the Large Hadron Collider. The world's top scientists were abuzz with anticipation. An unprecedented experiment was scheduled for midnight, a collision of particles at an energy level that had never been attempted. Officially, the experiment was framed as an ambitious attempt to understand dark matter. Unofficially, it was something else entirely. Dr. Elena Kovacs, a physicist renowned for her work in quantum mechanics, had grown suspicious. For weeks, she'd noticed strange behaviors among her colleagues, especially the project's leaders. Dr. Tobias Greer, the charismatic head of the team, had become distant and obsessive. He spoke in cryptic phrases about higher beings and unlocking the true nature of existence. At first, Elena dismissed it as stress-induced eccentricity, but then she found the notebooks. Late one evening, while everyone else had gone home, Elena stayed behind to review some data anomalies. She stumbled upon Greer's personal notebook, left open on a desk in his office. Its pages were filled with intricate, otherworldly diagrams, scrawled equations, and phrases like, "The gate must open and they await beyond the veil." And interspersed were unsettling sketches of humanoid figures with elongated limbs and faces made of shifting, kaleidoscopic patterns. One phrase repeated over and over in bold letters, "The machine elves are watching." Elena's pulse quickened. She'd heard of machine elves before, ethereal entities described by people who had taken powerful hallucinogens like DMT. But why would a physicist like Greer be obsessing over them? She began digging deeper. Over the next few days, Elena discreetly hacked into Greer's personal files. What she found chilled her to the core. Hidden in encrypted folders were recordings of Greer's private video diaries. In one, his face appeared pale and gaunt, eyes wide with a manic gleam. "They came to me," he whispered, his voice trembling. "During the dream they showed me the true structure of reality. Our universe is but a thin membrane, and beyond it lies theirs. They're not gods, not demons, just architects of chaos. They've guided us for centuries, nudging us toward this moment. The Collider, it's the key to their liberation." Another recording was even more disturbing. In it, Greer spoke of world leaders and influential figures. "They're everywhere," he said, his eyes darting around nervously. "Presidents, generals, CEOs, they've all been touched. They hear the whispers too. They're working together, whether they realize it or not. The machine elves have sown the seeds in their minds. We're all pawns in their plan." Elena's hands trembled as she closed the laptop. She had to stop this experiment. As the clock approached midnight, Elena's anxiety reached a fever pitch. The Collider's control room was bustling with activity. Greer stood at the center, issuing commands with an almost fanatical fervor. The other scientists moved like automatons, their eyes glazed over as if in a trance. Elena realized she was the only one not under the machine elves' influence. She hurried to her station and accessed the Collider's systems. Her plan was risky, initiate a controlled shutdown under the guise of a technical malfunction. But as she typed in the commands, the screens around her flickered. A strange hum filled the air, growing louder by the second. The lights dimmed, and then she saw them. The machine elves appeared on the monitors. Their forms were mesmerizing and horrifying, shifting through colors and shapes that defied logic. Their voices, a chorus of whispers and screams, echoed in her mind. "Do not interfere," they intoned. "The gate must open." Elena screamed and yanked the power cable from her console. But it was too late. The Collider roared to life, its massive magnets spinning at full capacity. The black hole began to form, a swirling, inky vortex at the center of the chamber. As the black hole expanded, the air in the control room grew heavy, vibrating with an unearthly energy. The machine elves began to materialize, stepping out of the vortex one by one. Their forms were even more terrifying in person, towering fractal creatures with eyes that seemed to pierce through reality itself. Chaos erupted, scientists screamed and fled, but the machine elves moved with calculated precision, their touch unraveling people into streams of light and energy. Elena watched in horror as Greer approached the largest of the entities, dropping to his knees in reverence. "I have served you faithfully," he whispered. "Grant me your knowledge." The machine elf reached out, its elongated fingers brushing against Greer's forehead. His body convulsed, and his eyes glowed brightly before his entire form disintegrated into a cascade of luminous particles. Elena knew she had to act fast. She sprinted toward the emergency shutdown panel near the back of the room. The controls were surrounded by a swirling mass of energy, but she forced herself through, her skin burning as if exposed to acid. She slammed her hand down on the emergency override button. The collider groaned and sputtered, its magnetic fields collapsing. The black hole began to shrink, pulling the machine elves back toward its center. They screamed in rage, their voices a deafening cacophony in Elena's mind. She collapsed to the floor, clutching her head as blood trickled from her nose. When Elena woke, the facility was eerily silent. The black hole was gone, and so were the machine elves. The control room was in shambles, littered with the remains of equipment and people. She stumbled outside, greeted by the cold night air and the distant wail of sirens. In the days that followed, the incident was classified as a catastrophic failure. The official report claimed it was a tragic accident caused by a power surge. But Elena knew the truth. She knew the machine elves were still out there, waiting for another chance to breach the veil, and she knew they wouldn't stop until they succeeded.